Hello, I am Robin Phillips, student in the Instructional Leadership EDS program at UNA. This is a presentation on some of my thoughts and interpretations of the word curriculum, a term with many meanings. The term curriculum is from a modern Latin word meaning to run or to run a race course. I think it is interesting that it has at its root the same foundations as the word career. First, I will give a general interpretation. To me, curriculum defines what should be taught according to whomever has the ultimate authority. Curriculum is not the textbook. Many years ago, as a young teacher, I thought textbooks adopted by the district defined the curriculum for a course. This perception was influenced by several factors, one prominent factor being my personal experiences as an elementary and high school student in which we covered the book in a systematic manner. Another context of curriculum is a set of standards adopted by the State Department of Education. This provides a set of standards for which students are expected to learn within each course. I have taught math in all grades from 6th through 12th. Curriculum defines the scope of what is taught. Therefore, when students move through a sequence of courses, they will have covered a wide range of topics which are deemed to be important by the State Department of Education. In my experience, I have relied heavily on the Alabama Department of Education's course of study for mathematics to guide me. My third interpretation of curriculum is related to the Latin root which means to race, as I mentioned earlier. I believe curriculum design is an area that needs much attention and discussion in the educational community. I think oftentimes good teachers get so focused on trying to cover the curriculum that they forget that learning should be fun. Our society has created a competitive atmosphere connected to high-stakes testing that can be terribly counterproductive to what we as educators are trying to accomplish. That is, I believe we should be trying to create individuals who can think for themselves and make valuable contributions to society and help make this world a better place for future generations. But sometimes teachers let the race to cover the curriculum take the fun out of learning. I have heard teachers say, I just don't have time to do a certain unit or project because I have so much to cover. I think we need to continue to revisit our approaches to curriculum to make sure there is room for exploration and time for discovery. Now I will share three non-traditional researchers' interpretations relating to curriculum. First, let us get some insight into the mind of Dr. E.D. Hirsch Jr., a longtime educational reformist who is credited with influencing the move toward Common Core. Dr. Hirsch, who is now 90 years old, said in the prologue to his most recent book, Why Knowledge Matters, I am still chiefly motivated by the social injustice of our dominant theories and their unwitting destruction of the American dream. He urges that only a well-rounded, knowledge-specific curriculum can impart needed knowledge to all children and overcome inequality of opportunity. Here is a quote about Dr. Hirsch's work written by Robert Pondiscio. Hirsch's work can be summarized thusly. Reading comprehension is not a skill we can teach directly, practice, or master. It is not like riding a bike, where if you learn on one, you can ride another with ease. Once you learn to decode the words on a page, your ability to read with understanding is largely a reflection of how much knowledge and vocabulary you have and share with the writer. The next researcher is a non-traditional approach from Dr. David Steiner, the executive director at the Johns Hopkins Institute for Education Policy. The overarching conclusions from the Johns Hopkins review are that curriculum is very important and that the selected curriculum has a tremendous impact on student learning. Some key findings: curriculum is a critical factor in student academic success. The cumulative impact of high-quality curriculum is significant. The cost of placing strong curricula in the classrooms is not necessarily higher than using weak ones. And curriculum research hasn't examined what makes a curriculum effective. His conclusions: Steiner named 3 factors that suggested that America public education needs reform, and that being 60% of high school graduates are unprepared for post-secondary training or schooling, the racial and socio-economic achievement gaps, and seeming futility of prior reform efforts. Steiner strongly suggested we should make curriculum a top priority. What we teach isn't some sidebar issue in American education, it is American education. And there is a quote from him. Now for my last selection of a researcher's interpretation. I'm intrigued when people take a different approach to something. Of course, it doesn't always turn out to be a good move. However, an article by Dean Closs on the culture of the independent progressive school caught my attention. In this article, Closs explored an alternative educational model found in 2 upstate New York schools, and he identified the schools as progressive, listing 4 distinguishing elements, that being individualized, child-centered instruction, curricular and assessment flexibility. Observations also showed that in the progressive schools they had curricular flexibility, including choice, space, time, and teacher autonomy. Here are some quotes from some of the teachers. I will let you read at your own convenience. And a quote to close by Closs at the end. Here are my references. Thank you for watching. I appreciate your time.